So what we're going to be doing is to first go over the basics of fundamentals of what HR is all about. And once we are through with that, we'll come to HR analytics itself, the concept of HR analytics. So the first one is going to focus on what HR is, the benefit of those who are coming from different backgrounds, so that you have a fair idea of what we are going to talk about. The HR analytics is going to be we picking some kind of data that the HR activities produce. Okay, so that'll be the next we'll be talking about. Right after that, we'll jump into data visualization. Okay, and then storytelling. Think this is something you've seen before, so we may not take a lot of time. Let me see. Okay, this is something you've seen before, so we'll not take a lot of time on it. But it's basically data visualization and storytelling. It's about the various visuals available, how and then when to use each one of them, and some few do's and don'ts when it comes to you visualizing your data. Then afterwards, we'll talk about HR metrics. Okay, so just like any other discipline, we trying to measure performance. Okay, so over here we'll be using HR metrics for that purpose. Then after the HR metrics, we'll look at something we call sentiment analysis. So sentiment analysis is more like you say something, okay, we want to understand whether it is positive or negative, and then the extent. Okay, that is what we'll be looking at. So in the space of HR, usually you'll be receiving comments from your clients, your customers, sometimes some feedback, write it in some notes, those kind of things. It can be so much that you can't even sit down and then read each one of them. So we'll look at how to run some analysis on that kind of qualitative data to see that, okay, we are getting some positive feeds or negative feeds. And then we even look at the extent to which is positive or negative. So that's what we'll be doing in the segment analysis. Then we'll talk about social network analysis. This is one of the interesting aspects of this course. So social network analysis is about groups, okay, and their social relationships. So if you know this and this person knows this, is there any sense we can make out of the relationship between you guys or the connections between you? Is there any sense we can make out of it? So yeah, right after this one, we'll be having some lab activities. Okay, so the lab activities is going to be on one sentiment analysis. Okay, because the data visualization, it's something you've done in Power BI and maybe Tableau. You've done that with think R as well. So we'll just go through this one to let you understand when to use what. But then the sentiment analysis is something you haven't done before. So we'll be doing that in our lab activities. And the last one being social network analysis. You also haven't probably seen that kind of analysis before. So we'll be doing that. All right. So any questions with respect to what we plan doing in HR analytics? Any questions? So I think we have 6 of them. Any questions? Should I proceed?
Yes, Pastor, can you proceed?
Okay, all right. So to start with, I would want to know how many of us are coming from HR. How many of us have got HR background? Anybody here? Obi anye HR. Wow, that's interesting. Okay, so when we talk about human resource, then human resource management, and then people management. Okay, we are looking at, see, every organization has got human beings they work with. Okay, and those human beings are deep down within them, they have some kind of resources in them. Now, these resources I'm talking about can be knowledge, skill set, those kind of things. Okay. Now, the ability of maybe the institution, or let's say the company in question, to be able to tap into or identify some of these talents and then develop it in addition to manage it is what we are going to be discussing over here. So basically, you as an individual, you have some kind of knowledge, some skill sets, those kind of things. Okay. Another person too has got their own set of skill set bringing they are bringing on board. Now it is up to the organization to identify some of these skill sets, develop and then maintain it. Sometimes this skill set may not be there. Okay. It could be, okay, this person here is a smart guy, so there is a new set of skill. It is up to them to put you on that kind of training. Okay. So HR basically is an approach for acquiring, we're trying to develop, manage, and then even gain some kind of commitment of the organization's key resources. And the key resources in this case happen to be the workers. Okay. All right. Now, the goal of human resource management, or the reason why we want to manage the organization's human resource, is to maybe I know how to put this. Once you've invested in some kind of individuals, groups, we are calling workers, you need to get the best out of them, the optimum level. Okay. And then to get the optimum kind of I know how to put this. How should I say? To get maybe the best out of them, it is up to you to identify their talents, work on it to develop it. And once the organization is able to identify, work, and then develop some of these talents, it becomes the property of the organization. Unless, of course, maybe the person would want to leave also. But are we just making that kind of assumption that the person is staying over here? Okay. So the issue here is, why do you think it's important for us to even manage the human resource? Remember, we are not saying that human resource is the human being. We are saying that human resource is the kind of skill set, the talents within the human being. Those are the kind of resources we are interested in managing. Okay? So, of course, we're trying to manage these resources. We are directly managing the human beings, but the focus over here is not the human being per se, but the kind of skill set or knowledge they have within them. Okay. All right. But it's so important for organizations to manage some of these resources in their employees, because you see, we are humans and we come from diverse backgrounds. Okay. Like this man will say, Mensa Otabil in marriage, one of his preachings, he mentioned that the fact that both of you are coming from two different backgrounds alone is enough for a fight. So let's forget about any other thing. But because you are coming from a background, let's say Ashanti, this is also coming from a background, let's say an Indian, both of you coming from two different cultural backgrounds is enough for a fight. So at the workplace, this thing also happens. You are not going to be employing only Northerners, Voltarians, Ashantis. No, you are going to employ diverse people. So at the workplace, you have someone who is this, another person who is an Ashanti, another who is maybe a Voltarian. So because of this diverse backgrounds coming in, it becomes important and necessary for the organization to manage all of these talent, because these talents actually build up, makes their attitude, their behavior, all of these things. And if the organization is unable to manage this one very well, it's going to go against the organization negatively. Okay. So basically, the organization is trying to unearth and then develop or maybe leverage the capabilities of some of these talent to um, get to where the organization wants to go. Okay, so that's the main reason why, or the need for HR. We have a place we want to go, want to achieve this goal, but we have a set of people we are working with. How do we get them together so that we can achieve this goal? When we know very well that they are all coming from different backgrounds, then it is up to the organization to step in to say that, hey, you have this skill set, move to this group. You have this skill set, move to this group. Then we work on all of them towards the achievement of the organization's goal. All right. So I think with everything we've said, summarizes the objectives of human resource management. Okay, so the primary objective over here is to ensure that we achieve the organization's goal, okay, through the right people. Okay, so once we have the people, of course, we focus on their talent, develop it for the benefit of the organization. So these are more like a generic objective. These are more quite specific. But of course, these are not all of the objectives or the reasons why we may want to manage the talent. All right. Now, there are some challenges when it comes to managing human beings and their talents. Okay. Yeah. So over here, we'll put it like this. There's a huge gap between attracting and then retaining skilled workers. So and it's so easy for an organization to uh, get employees. You advertise, you hear a lot of people applying for this job, and when they come, um, based on how the organization handles them, they are able to maintain them or keep them over there, and even develop their skills. Now, one of the major challenges with HR is, you see, after you recruiting all of these people, training them, and that sometimes these your employees will be leaving. Okay, you invest a lot of money into these employees, you identify their talent, build them, organize training sessions for them, a whole lot. Then at the end of the day, they'll be leaving. Okay, so employee turnover is one of the challenges, and then recruitment. It's very difficult for the HR to identify the right person with the right skill for a given job. It's very difficult because everybody is going to write a lot of things on their CV. It's up to the HR to identify which one of them is true. Sometimes somebody may be very knowledgeable. They are able to speak when they get to the panel during the interview session. They are so loud, they are able to talk, express themselves. But you come to realize that there may be some nerd who is so skilled in the area you need him or her. But then this person here cannot talk. You understand? So once the person cannot express himself, you see, sometimes we may decide not to employ that particular guy. So it is the job of the HR to identify that. Of course, this guy here can do it, just that he cannot express himself like very well. So you trying to identify the right person and then recruit them, it's also a challenge. Training is also a challenge, who is going to train? How often are you going to train your staff? How much does it cost to train a staff? These are also challenges that HR is also facing. A moment. Okay. All right. And then we also have new organizational forms. Okay. These are sometimes, if I within the organization, we are going to have some kind of competitions, just like politics also happen in the organization. HR also face this kind of challenge. Okay. And sometimes there is also a change in employee expectations. Okay. The employee will come in saying that, oh, this is how much I want. Maybe ABC, I think I'm okay with it. But when they get into the job, they start working after you've invested so much in them to train them to get to a certain level. Then the expectations change. They try to ask for more, okay, like a lot of things. So these are some kind of challenges that HR is facing. And that's the reason how we are going to be doing HR analytics. It's like that when we get this data, we are able to analyze and then come out with a conclusion to say that we are expecting that this person here would want to leave, or we are expecting that the expectation of this person is going to change to this. Okay. So those are some kind of questions we may want to answer. Who is likely to leave the organization maybe within the next 6 months? That is the reason why we are doing some of these things. So now that we understand the challenge, like this one, the challenges of that the HR is facing, we are looking at what is it that has been put in place to handle some of these challenges. Okay, so of course, it's not as if these problems are not known. These problems are known, and they are actually doing something to minimize the effect, or let's say to solve the problem. But we are going to look at how they are managing that problem. They will look at the gap to see how analytics can fit in here to fill the gap that is left. Okay. All right. So in order to solve the challenges, you see, HR also came out with something we call manpower planning. Okay. So manpower planning is just about you getting the right number of people. You don't have to overstaff or understaff. Okay. So if you need 10 people for the job, you are able to plan for that and then get those 10 people only. Then being able to get the right kind of person at the right place, okay, at the right time, and then doing the right things. Okay? So basically, HR sat down to say that, okay, these are ABC challenges we are facing. So there is a need for something like manpower planning. And what manpower planning is all about is about we getting the right set of people, the right kind of person at the right time to do the right things. Okay. And whatever right we are talking over here is about we achieving the goals of the organization. Okay. All right. So in manpower planning, there are a whole lot of activities that goes on in there, and then it involves we trying to determine present requirement of HR, so that you realize that currently, before you are employed, they will give you some kind of note to say that, okay, you are not going to leave the organization for the next days, and like it comes with some kind of conditions. So this is where it's coming from. Okay. And the activities also involve the analyzing and calculating future skills requirements. So they can sit down, do the analysis to say that, okay, in future, we are going to require people with this kind of skill set, all right? In addition to anticipating some kind of redundancies and then training and development needs. So you come to realize that we are heading towards something we are going to call the HR analytics, because if you look at all of these things to determine present requirement of human resource, of course, if we have previous data, we can run some kind of analysis to tell what the current requirement is, and then in future, what we expect. And then once we have historical data, we are able to calculate the future requirements of it and even identify if our key employees are leaving, do we have a shortage in terms of manpower? Do we have a lot of them? Okay. So you can come to a conclusion that with all of these activities that we are talking about, which is manpower planning, of course, there is a way they are trying to fix the problem. But we think analytics can actually come in here to make this particular job here even better. Okay, so in addition, we have recruitment and selection. Of course, we've talked about recruitment. So recruitment is just about we trying to identify and analyze job requirements and then find appropriate or prospective candidates, okay, who can fit that particular requirement. Okay. Now, before we do some of these recruitment, of course, there are a whole lot of questions we ask ourselves. So, for example, if we have organizations whose interest is recruiting workers for another or other organizations. So before an organization would want to go ahead and recruit or select someone, they may want to ask questions like, okay, should we allow someone else to do all of this selection process for us? Should we do the recruitment internally? As in, if you need someone to fill the position of a manager, should we select maybe the security man or the cashier or so to fit that role? Should we also recruit from outside? Should we use an online approach? And what are the cost implications if we want to recruit ourselves? And how do we also get the right candidate? So we're trying to answer all of these questions is going to help us to decide whether we are going to do the recruitment ourselves or maybe outsource that. But mind you, we are going through this not as technical people in terms of HR, but we are going through this to understand the kind of data we need and then why we even need them. Okay. All right. So HR also takes part in such activities, okay, like learning, training, and development. So this is more about you ensuring that, remember what we are doing HR, right? We want to identify the talent, train, and then keep those talents to lead the achievement of the organizational goal. Okay, so we can do that through learning, training, development. Okay, so I wouldn't take a lot of time over here. Then we also have a performance appraiser. So we are actually going to measure effectiveness and efficiency of employees. So as this person here came in, okay, we're trying to analyze how effective or efficient this person has been. We have different ways of doing this, and I'll show you a few of them. Okay, so we usually try to analyze the effectiveness and efficiency of employees against certain metrics. Okay, now some of these metrics include job knowledge. So as this person here came on board, we're trying to appraise maybe a particular employee or something. Then job knowledge, okay, their skills and ability, their attitude towards the job. So these are metrics. Okay, so for example, if I think we have something here, yeah, so something like this. If I pick worker A, we want to ask ourselves something like maybe their level of understanding of a given thing. Then we score it. Maybe their level of skills in this, they will score it. Okay, so that is what we'll be doing at this point. So over here, we are looking at scoring them based on their knowledge level within the kind of department or area they work. Their skills level, we want to also measure that. Attitude towards work, we want to measure all of this. And when we put all of these things together, we know that, okay, this person is due for A, B, C. Okay, all right. So just like we are discussing performance appraisal, it goes through a lot of steps or certain stages in order to complete. Okay, so you see that when we come here, we have this material here. This is just a snapshot of it. Okay, we have different approaches for performance appraisal. Okay, so this is just one of them. But before we get to this one, we have a lot of steps that we go through. All right, and these steps are quite straightforward. But first, we're trying to establish the standards or the metrics. Okay? So like we said, these are just metrics. We want to measure the performance of maybe an employee. So we have to set all of those metrics and then communicate some of these metrics. The HR is supposed to be communicating this metrics here to management. Now, once we are done, we are interested in measuring the performance, and that is where we do this. This is the measuring aspect of it. So if I come to this employee, I try to measure. Okay, once we are done with the measurement, we may now want to do a comparison between what we realize as against the standard. So for example, the standard is, okay, at least this one here, you should score, let's say 4. That is going to be the standard. So after we are done, we get the actual input that, okay, we check for this particular metric, and then we had 5. What is the standard? The standard is 4. It's just a boost skill, no? You understand? So that is what actually happens here. We try to compare what we have right now as against the standard. Okay, then we now go ahead and then discuss the entire process and the result of it. Then we take corrective actions. So this is one way of scoring. Of course, you can say this worker, you put the kind of metric over here, then you grade that worker. Then we also have another one where we have all of the questions or this point over here, then we rate the person on this skill, more like a skill. So you say that, okay, in terms of this question over here, this person here is poor or is doing really great. Okay. Any questions up to this point? Hello. Any questions up to this point? I think I have. Okay. Please, sometimes you have to say something, of course. Internet over here can be a bit bad. So I wouldn't want it to be like I'll end up talking and nobody's here. That is why I try to come in so that you can say something. I'm in full screen,
Yeah, I
so
think we are good.
okay. I'm in full screen, so sometimes when the comment comes in, I don't see it unless maybe I come here to check. Okay. All right. Then we have this concept in HR called employee motivation. I think it's something we are all interested in. So we see motivation as a process of stimulating people, okay, to act in a given way in order to achieve goals. Okay. Now, this is how we do it. Sometimes it comes in a form of incentives like bonus, some allowances, promotion, rewards, and the likes. So, why do you think an organization would want to motivate its employees? All right. So, we're looking at if the organization here is able to motivate its employees, it's going to yield some kind of job satisfaction. And Koba said, I've been working here for the past 20 years and I've never been promoted. Yes, I don't wanted to say something.
Yes, please. Please, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Concerning the previous thing you just learned, you were saying before the employer or something, you have to ask if the person qualifies for the job, is the person right, and all that. So, could there be a case where maybe they could employ new people who have who don't have all the necessary skills, yet they can train them for them to um, be familiar with the skills they need.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, that's what they do. That's what they do.
Okay.
It's very difficult to get an all-round candidate for the role. It's sometimes difficult. So they usually try to weigh the benefits. Like we have 7 skill sets you need to have. You have 5.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, that's
Very
what happens.
accurate.
Pastor, can I
So
come
they
in?
Yes, sure.
over the
All right. So to add to what you just said concerning answering add-ons. So in jobs, there are levels, right? So we have an entry level role, maybe a middle level role, and a management level role. So you cannot pick somebody right from graduate school to a management level role. You need to get some operational experience and like leadership experience, and that comes with starting from somewhere. So it's not every role that you can pick somebody and train, right? It comes with like the experience level. I know it's a catch-22 here because everybody's then looking for an experienced person in a role. But where do we get that experience from? So then again, it comes to the level of the role that you are trying to recruit for. There is entry. All you require is a 1-year national service, your certificate from whichever program that you did, and that's it. But for a management, you need to have certain number of years of experience. So yeah, that is to add to what you just said. So you can't just pick. There are some skills that you learn on the job. That's you cannot do away with, but some experience is really required. You don't want to pick somebody with um, agricultural science background for finance management. Did you get it? That in the name of training the person. No.
Yeah, exactly. I think you've elaborated more on that. Thank you very much for coming in. I hope you're okay now.
please, I'm fine.
Yeah, okay. So on the issue of motivation, it accounts for some of the reasons why your employees may be misbehaving, some of them to be leaving. I've been working here for this number of periods and there is no promotion, no salary increment, no incentive, those kind of things. You understand? So motivation is really important if you want to get to this point, okay? To yield this job satisfaction, to get loyalty and commitment. Now, of course, we in theory, we think maybe motivation is going to yield loyalty and then commitment, but sometimes it's not entirely true in the real world. You understand? Someone may be motivated, saying still the person will not be loyal. They will just be doing their own stuff, taking some kind of information from the organization to your competitors, those kind of things. Okay. But in theory, that is the motivation behind we trying to motivate our employees and even self development and effective coordination among employees. Okay. All right. Now, of course, we have one other thing too called compensation. Okay. Yes, Adam.
Hello.
Yes, coming.
Yeah, okay. So I think what I was about to ask was based on this. So please, when you finish, then I'll ask the compensation.
It's based on the compensation.
Yes, compensation and then the incentive. So
And
I
the
think
incentives. Oh, okay, okay. So now let's come from a definition perspective of what compensation is. Compensation is all forms of pay, okay, given to employees which arise from their employment. Of course, we have other people also coming in with different definitions, okay. So one of them is all rewards earned by employees in return for their labor or hard work. All right. So this kind of compensation here can be both financial and then non-financial. But remember, what we are saying compensation is any form of pay we are giving to the employee that is arising from their employment. So in terms of financial, of course, it can be salary. Of course, once you are working with the organization, you have to pay you the salary. I have some bonus. This my guys. Okay, some bonuses, some kind of benefits and the likes. Okay, sometimes too it's not financial. Okay, so it can be any of these. You getting some kind of leave, overtime policy, like insurance, everything. Okay, so I don't I don't know. You may want to come in with it.
All right. Please, can we go back to the slides on the incentives?
Incentives. Incentives is here. Are you talking about motivation?
Yeah, motivation, sorry.
Okay,
So
sure.
I was like, is there any fixed, because in some workplaces they might just give like extra money because the company was able to raise this extra amount of money. So they share the profits or something. Some too, they just give them, oh, today we are buying everyone lunch or something. Is that also a contributing factor to the loyalty of the people?
Well, so we can say that it contributes to it, but it depends on the intention behind that. Okay. Now every organization is doing some things for a given reason. Now look at this. Where should I even come from? Let's say like African homes. You know how our parents apologize to us when they mess up. You know, they won't come straight and tell you, oh, we are sorry, we feel what we
Yeah,
did was wrong.
they'll cook for
You know
you.
how they apologize.
Yeah,
Oh,
they'll cook for you.
my mentor apple mouth. You understand?
Yeah.
Yeah. It can be in that form. And sometimes too, the organization got this money and then felt like, okay, we want to give this to our employees to motivate them to work more. Say that they may feel like, okay, if we're able to do more and at the end of the year we make this amount of profit, definitely they'll get something that is going to keep them going. Sometimes too, something happened and they feel like, okay, this is the best way we can apologize. Let's do this for everyone. So it comes in different forms, you understand. But I want to believe that in most cases, they want to do this because they want to motivate the employees to work harder, say that at the end of the year or maybe a given period, if this amount of money comes in, they know that they will be given ABC amount as motivation. Okay. But it comes in like different reasons why people would want to do that. Someone is asking question. Oh, okay, that is a comment. So saying that it's a form of employee engagement program with the intention of motivating the employees. Yeah. So of course, it can be with the intention of motivating the employees. Sometimes it's also an apology, you know. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Then we also have job satisfaction, and that is crucial because we are talking about compensation, we are talking about motivation. All right. Now, you remember one of the reasons why we are trying to motivate all of these are employees, you know, and we are talking about job satisfaction. And job satisfaction in this context, we are looking at pleasure, okay, with which your employees are going to work. Now, remember, we are trying to conceptualize what job satisfaction here is. So in our case, we are saying that job satisfaction is the pleasure with which your employees are going to do the work, all right? And it's very important for the organization to pay attention to employees' job satisfaction because it's actually going to lower turnover. If your employees are working and they are not so happy with what they do, it doesn't matter how much money you give them, all of those things. Some may leave, with the exception of the few. In fact, it's in rare cases where some people are not happy at their work, but then they want to stay because of their monies. But those who want their peace of mind, happiness, and those kind of things, sometimes they don't really pay attention so much to the salary. They tend to look at the job environment. Is it good enough? And whatever thing they are doing, are they satisfied? Imagine you put somebody like me, okay, and maybe some company to work, of which in that area, I do not have so much knowledge about. All I want to do is to stay behind my computer and write some codes to build systems. And you go and put me in a different place. I may not be happy. You may give me some huge amount of money, but once I'm not happy with the work, I wake up in the morning and I feel like this is a burden. I don't know if you've experienced that before. I say, you are working and you are not happy with what you do. You wake up going to work, you're not motivated. You feel like this is a burden. But when you're happy with what you do, you wake up and you'll be the first person to be at the workplace. Okay. So it happens. Okay. So once the person is happy, we are saying that it's going to lower turnover. It's going to increase productivity, customer satisfaction. Because if the person working on the job is not happy, they are going to transfer that kind of I don't know how to put it, that kind of feeling to the customers, and the customers too may not be happy with your services. Okay. Now, like we said, there are a whole lot of things that can influence job satisfaction. And you remember we said one motivation actually influence that. We also say that compensation is also going to influence job satisfaction. And of course, oh, okay, sales girl at ShopRite. So what did that person do?
Some of them are very rude, like they don't really want to be there.
Ah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you feel like next time, remember, I'll go to a different place. You get it? And that is if, let's say, the company in question, if they have a competitor, you would say that because of this girl, I won't come here again. I'll go to the next place. This is not the company's. This is not about the entire company. You are making this decision because of just one person's job satisfaction issue. One person.
Mm-hmm.
You get it? So job satisfaction here becomes very important and crucial. Okay. So working environment can influence job satisfaction, like we said, salary, appreciation, policies, promotion issues. In fact, workers' age can also influence their job satisfaction, and in fact, a whole lot of things comes in. So job satisfaction is something really important. Of course, we are not doing HR management here, so enough of maybe this one. But I just want you to understand that in your journey as analyst, when you grab HR data you want to analyze, you may want to pay attention to their job satisfaction. So if you have that kind of data, you may want to analyze it to see who is happy, who is not happy. Then you inform management accordingly on what they should do. Because if they are not satisfied with their job, it can have a negative consequence on the organization. Okay, so this is it. You can see what we are talking about. Once the data is there, you can run some kind of analysis to say that, okay, we have 8 people who are satisfied with their work, and we have 19 people who over the periods, the way they felt about the job, that is the same way they feel today. And then we have people who are not satisfied with their job. So you can see job satisfaction trend over here. That is trying to tell you just job satisfaction of employees over a given time frame. Okay, so this is some kind of analysis you can run, given that the data is available. Okay, so I think we've seen this one already. Okay, so what you are seeing over here is this one, the factors that are influencing job satisfaction. But over here, we're trying to group it in terms of organizational variables, the kind of things the organization is doing that may influence the employee job satisfaction. So something like, let's say salary. You know, salary is not determined by the employee, it is determined by the organization. So the decision of the organization or this organizational variable may influence an employee's job satisfaction. And we also have some of them that are coming from the individual themselves. Okay, so if it is coming from the individual themselves, sometimes maybe where you work, gender. I say, you are the only lady over there. Well, some people may find that as a motivation to say that, yeah, I'm the only lady here, so I want to work hard to prove myself. Others too may not feel okay because like they are unable to see, let me see, they are unable to see the kind of, let's say, gender, or like, they don't see that, they see something different. Sometimes too, their experience, their age, and those kind of things may also be an issue. Now, imagine, like Medley was saying, at different levels, we need different kind of experience and then expertise. Imagine I'm 48 years and I'm still working as maybe a salesperson. So you understand that this time around my age is going to influence my job satisfaction level. So, oh, many are 48 there, and I shouldn't be here. I should be here, maybe the supervisor of this or that. Okay, so your some personal variables may influence job satisfaction levels. All right. So next steps. In fact, we are not getting to this, but when I was preparing the slide, I wanted to move to HR metrics straight from here. So that is not what we are going to do. We are going to be looking at HR analytics itself. So now that we have, of course, I said this is not an HR class, so this is supposed to give you an overview of what we are going to talk about in HR analytics. So now we've been able to understand what HR is and then why there is a need for us to manage talent. Okay, we also understand what the objectives are and the kind of challenges within the human resource management space. And then we said that in their quest to solve some of these challenges or reduce the negative impact of all of these things, there is an issue of they planning their human resource. Okay, going through a lot of activities to plan that. They go through a lot of activities or processes in order to recruit and then select. They tend to invest so much in learning, training, and development just to develop the skill and the talent of their employees so that the organization can benefit from that. And they also tend to appraise their workers to know which one is doing well, which one is not doing well, and which areas there is a need for improvement. Okay, and we also talked about employee motivation, where we talked about what is going to motivate or keep the workers going, such that they may want to be part of the organization's history. We also understood why there is a need for motivation and as well compensation. Then we looked at job satisfaction, whether your employees are happy with what they are doing or they are not happy with what they are doing. We also got to know why it's important to understand how your employees are faring in organization and what even influence their happiness in the job. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know if there is any question up to this point, but that is all for this one. Any questions up to this point? Hello, are you there? Namiko? Okay, sure. So any questions up to this point? Otherwise, maybe we'll want to move to the next one, and that will be it for today. I think it's 9. Okay. So if there isn't any question, we may want to move to HR analytics, and that will be it for today. Then God willing, tomorrow we'll talk about these two. The next time we meet, we'll talk about these two. Then we'll have a lot of time for lab activities. Please, any question from the one we just did, introduction to HR, any comment, anything, contributions, whatsoever, before we start this? And I'm in free. Okay. Who is Abby? Abby, you are the first too. That's why I'm calling you. Sister Abigail.
Pasty.
Yes. Any concern, comment, question, contribution, anything?
No, please.
Okay. So we have Caleb. Caleb, you want to say something?
No, please, Pasty. I think I'm good.
Okay. Pius. We have Pius here. I think I saw that name. Yeah. Pius.
Yes, sir. I think everything is understood.
Everything is good at your end there. Okay. There's some people are like you. It didn't mean to me, Bonti. I can't call them.
Salter.
Thank you. Friend mommy.
Salter, they are calling you.
Yes, we are calling you.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
You are good there.
Yeah.
Some people are happy. It didn't mean to me, Bonti. Yeah, not mean to me from. This I can put. Greg, are you there?
Yes, please, I'm good.
You are good there. Okay, my
Yes,
main
please.
feed near you know. Yeah, there is simple. Nanama. Nanama, your aim is 2. Why? And I want why any sir. Oh, Nanama is not here.
Hi, Patsy. I'm here.
Yes. Any concern for us?
No, please. But for the AMA, the double M is the true spelling. The 1 M is the English version.
Brofo. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. Hey, okay. Mate. You are an Ashanti, eh?
Yes, please.
Okay. This is pure Nanama from Ghana. Person be use Brofo hey, but we use Zoom. Yate. Muslim.
Hello, Pastor. I'm okay.
You're okay. And how is this one different from Islam? I know I went to an Islamic school, and Islam is peace and submission to the will of Allah, right?
Yes,
And what is Muslim someone who follows the
exactly.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, it's been years. Back in primary school, we were taught class how to pray in Arabic, and Samidini na jinchinam. Okay. Obed. Obed.
Pasty.
Yeah. Any concern?
Oh, let me just pass this one through. You see, HR are always looking for people with experience, but from what we are learning, I think it's part of their job to identify the talents and the capabilities within their human resources so that they will be able to develop it to
Yeah.
achieve the organizational goal. And Mendlab too was making a point that at times, depending on the level of entry, that maybe your qualification or maybe probably he was talking about the undergraduate, then moving straight forward to managerial level, which is not possible. What about maybe probably from undergraduate after maybe even the person even did his or her national service within the institution, then proceeded to do postgraduate. Then afterwards, maybe he or she is qualified for managerial role, but HR is looking for persons with 3 or 5 years of experience. How do we reconcile that 3 or 5 years of experience with somebody who has maybe who qualifies as an entry-level manager or something? That's what I'm also thinking about right now with their job, like as in with their the responsibility of HR and their requirement aspect.
Okay. I think what you are thinking about is interesting, and it calls for a discussion maybe with HR professionals on how they do that. But to the best of my knowledge, what I know is if you look at the university structure, coming to the university was not for small boys. You understand? Before you even come to the university, they have to, in fact, at the master's level, business administration, a school like I think Strathmore University in Kenya, before you apply for like MBA or masters in those kind of things, they have to make sure that you are working, you are in the organization before they even admit you. But I see in our case, it's a bit different. But the point is this: you want to be at the top level because probably you have a PhD in HR or you have MBA in HR or something similar. You now want to go and then manage human beings with zero experience. Now, it becomes very difficult. When we talk about experience, it's about what you've seen before, okay? What you've done before, what you've seen people do, and how you can manage it. Most of the things we're doing here is a bit theoretical. We're telling you that, oh, when this happens, this can happen. But sometimes you go to the job market and you won't even see anything we are even talking about here. That is some kind of gap. But I don't know if Mendeley is in the industry and then he's got some kind of idea on this. But for what I know, these people, Abayejuma, when you are being employed, they employ you at a certain level, like level 16. I don't know. It seems it doesn't really matter which qualification you are bringing or whatever. When you are coming fresh, you bet you will level 16 or so. Then as time goes on, as you are picking some experience, your promotion becomes much easier than someone who do not have that kind of qualification. But they need you to get the experience before you rise up there. Okay. So I don't really know in practice how they do that. Whether I say they pick you and give you some kind of training, then they put you at the managerial level, or like Melu was saying, they won't just pick you right from this space and then take you to that managerial. I don't really know how they handle that. So I don't know if anybody has got an idea on how it is handled. You can share with all of us. Yes, yeah.
Pastor, there's not an answer to that, but to add to that concern, my concern is sometimes I don't understand, and maybe Mendeleev can also back me up here. I don't understand why HR sometimes they train they pick you up as entry level, they train you, you get the experience, you go through it, but then you get to a level, sometimes you start even acting for a particular job instead of them picking you they've trained. They tend to prefer external people who will come in, and then you that they train will start to train such people. Why is that case? Why is that the case, Mr.
Yeah, that is also another issue, So you see, when during employment, they can look internally or externally. So internally, I don't know what it would depend on, but probably coming from the result of their appraisal processes. Maybe you are skilled, all right, but you do not have the kind of skill to handle them. Maybe, like, for example, let's say you have anger issues as an HR person. Of course, you have all of the skills. But when they get a new person who doesn't have anger issues, but have some level of skill they think they can develop within a short period of time, of course, they may want to develop the outsider and put him at that level because you have anger issues and you may mess things up. Okay, this is my small thinking though, but I'm sure there is more to it and why they even do that. It can also be political. You've been working there for 20 years, but chairman yeah, and our chairman of our neighbor, so you understand.
It's mostly
I'm not
political.
saying
It's mostly political.
well, I haven't been there, so I don't really know. Yeah.
Yeah, Elokasi.
Yes.
I just wanted to add something small to it. I think it's usually based on cultural scenarios in various places. So, for example, in Ghana here, we regard older people as wiser people. It's not always the case. And so whenever there are any such rules, and I mean, there's the politics, it makes sense that politics can be a factor, but as I was saying, you have been in a role, you have basically performed the role of someone who's supposed to be your quote unquote superior to perfection. But whenever there's a need to replace that person, even though everyone in the organization is aware that you've done that, they will still prefer someone who is slightly older because the person most likely has more experience. But I believe that institutional knowledge also should play a part in that. But then again, as I said, cultural wahala.
All right. Any other? Any other? Oh, so we don't have HR professionals here. They could at least let us know so much about this. But this thing, it's funny. You know, I work with one private company, and what we do is we develop software. And you know, my boss is an undergraduate guy, like no, Memphis say first degree holder. Okay, he is my boss, and this guy here happens to be my junior course mate at the undergraduate level. So let's say when I was just one level. So when we were in third year, he was in second year. So he was coming to me to teach him programming, software development. So when he did his national service now, he got the opportunity and then he got another company asking him to come. And since then, whenever the guy gets into, in fact, every company he gets there, I'll also get there. The reason is he uses a framework. Okay, he's good at the framework, but he doesn't know the traditional programming language very well. So when he's writing codes and the framework doesn't provide that functionality, he will call me and I have to write those codes for him. So he always prefer that I'm in the same organization with him so that when we are working on a project, he can give me all of the sections that is pertaining to the traditional coding. Then he also use the framework to do the other portions. But this is someone, in fact, masters on Dreamy Sokoye Masters. He is my boss, you understand. And that is because he got there before I came. And honestly, during presentations, no, I am a boss, no, they won't ask him to come and do the presentation. They will call me. Yesterday, like this, I did a presentation with our US partners. In fact, my boss was supposed to be doing that presentation. He was on the call, but I did the presentation. So over there, they all know that, okay, this guy is here. He's the one doing the presentation, all of the right types. Like, we want to do this, we need documentation. I'll have to write it and give it to them. We need to do this, I'll do it and then share it with them. But he's still my boss, you understand? So sometimes there are a lot of things that goes in there. And of course, I don't want to be his boss because maybe PhD na me major. You understand? So I won't go and then pick that position and like me PhD by next year, maybe. not just next year, I go like Mejai and they have to be struggling. No. So sometimes some of these things happen. Okay? Muslim, you are saying something, but I don't really get it. That's employee satisfaction, employee consent.
Okay, what I wanted to clarify, per what I'm understanding, I don't know whether that's it though.
Okay.
I wanted to find out whether from per the slides, it's like the employee satisfaction and employee compensation are nested into the employee compensation and employee satisfaction are nested into employee motivation. Is that the case?
Well, not really. Compensation is, I say, I don't know, you are doing it, you deserve it. You understand? So something like your salary, like the company cannot say so more my salary. Do you understand that?
Okay.
They can't say my uncle leave. Like you deserve it because you are an employee over there. But something like motivation, and yeah, by force said they should give it to you. They decide when to give it to you just to make you feel motivated that you want to do more. Do you understand that?
All right.
So Memphis said with one is compelling. I say the organization is forced to do those things. Until we see but if they don't motivate you, they don't give you any bonus, you can't take them to court. All you can do is decide to stop working over there. So there are two different things.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. And someone is also explaining to us what knowledge is. Yeah, and then experience is okay. Knowledge is about the information and ideas, and experience is about practice and the application of it. And then, so we obtain some of this experience over a given period of time as a result of we working on a lot of tasks. So I think, yeah, that is an interesting addition. So someone is also asking, how did the first person got his or her experience, since we all came to this world with no experience? I think they got it through prolonged practice, as you said. Yeah, exactly. So they'll do it, and that's how it comes up.
Hello, Pasty.
Yes.
Concerning the fact that someone asked the question why employees decide to employ people outside instead of maybe promoting those already in the system.
Okay.
This one may not be academic, but off record. I think nepotism is one factor, especially when it comes to government institutions.
That's interesting.
Yes. Because maybe someone may want to employ a cousin or a family member or maybe a girlfriend to occupy that position. Yes, instead of the one who is due for the promotion or whatever. So I think that one can be a factor when it comes to government institutions.
Yeah, it's there. Plus a whole lot of others, Obi when hinty, you understand? Hey. So it's like, so long as I'm the manager here, you will never be this. So when we need that kind of person, they'll go outside and pick when they know that it's your turn to be there. Okay. So I'm not a politician. I don't do politics, but kakra mehuno. You see something like MPP. You remember? Was it about 8 years ago or so? No, not 8 years. I think 12 years ago or so. It was Alan Cash and Nanado, right?
Yes.
It was Alan Cash and Nanado, and Alan Cash had to step down. I don't know how they did it, whether it was through elections or he decided to step down. I don't know. But he stepped down, and then Nanado came. And you see, now, Alan Cash feels like he has given Nanado the opportunity to do this. So it's his time. And now, from nowhere, Baumia steps in. So you see, well, I don't know what's happening in there. I'm not a politician. I'm not well informed in that space, but I'm just using that as an example based on what, based on the issues that are coming up. Okay, it could be Obi Hue Hinti. It could be say we It could be say he's the vice president, so we think he's the best for. But of course, someone is also arguing that it's a Lancash thing, because on we some people are also arguing from a tribal perspective. Say, okay, we can't pick maybe an Ashanti or this. We now need to get a Northerner or like a whole lot of theories around this whole thing. So it's so serious and then funny at the same time. So yeah, these are some of the issues. Nanama, yes, so what's no? A bedroom court. Okay. And someone is saying
Hello,
that yes.
Hello.
Yes, come in.
Yeah, Pastor, please, can I also find out something? Maybe can it also be some of the organization's policy that maybe at a particular level, maybe we need this particular skills at a particular time, and maybe we decide to recruit rather than maybe promoting those who are already inside?
Yeah, it can be their policy anyway. Right now we have a lot of like policies. Oh, it's so crazy. Did you hear about this? When was it Facebook? Facebook was dragged to court because of their policies, privacy policies. I don't know if you heard about that issue. Before you use Facebook, you need to accept their terms and conditions. Until you accept it, you can't use Facebook. Also, we hear but the terms and conditions, and some Google no. If you read it, you know that no, this is too bad. Like when you sign, you are allowing them to use your data to do this. You are allowing them to do that. So you can't pull them to court if something bad happens because you've already agreed. So some of these organizations too, they are policy document. They write a lot of things in. But once page man, so you may not read. Now, if you read and it doesn't favor, the policy doesn't, what would you do? Would you say you won't accept the job? So like a whole lot. Sometimes their policy can influence whether they should recruit internally or maybe externally, depending on the position. They can say CEO there, the only person we can take is Obi Awaye CEO in another company. And then like it's just anything funny. They do a lot of things. Okay. So any other concern?
Yeah, Pastor,
Okay.
I think this,
Yes.
Pastor,
Yes, come in.
I think this HR thing there, I was saying about time because how do they want us to get the experience if they are not employing us in the first place?
So you can gain experience on something.
That's what
about
we call catch 22.
what is that
Catch
one?
22. So it means that we are looking for some level of experience, but we are not willing to give you that level of experience to get to that role. So go and start from somewhere.
And everywhere
Yeah.
is also seeking for experience. So where is the somewhere?
Right?
Yeah, so the experience
That's it.
you can also do something like that's why we have internships. You do things for free. Those are actually giving you some kind of experiences. Okay, it's important. Me, as you see me, so the number of software I've built for free, because I didn't have that skill to build a scalable application. In fact, I first need to build an application to make sure that someone is using, so that I understand that, oh, if I have to go live, this is what I have to do. If there is this issue, this is how I have to fix it. So I had to build several software for free, give it to them as they are using. So they can't do anything to me. All they do is we are facing I have to go and then fix it. I have to go and fix it. Now, when I had the experience, I built my first application that is being used by like over 1,000 people, like 1,000 users at the same time. See, I'm a frame here. I won't do it for free again. And you can't tell me I don't have experience. Of course, if you check my profile, you will see that I've worked for this company, I've worked for this company. But if you want to see my product, I can show you that I built this software with over 1,000 users and the system doesn't go down. That one alone is also experience on its own. So sometimes you may want to join some professional group, learn some kind of things. You would want to do some things for free, like those kind of things. It's very important. Okay. So
Hello,
it's
Patty.
not.
Yes.
Yes.
I want to add a little to the experience part.
Okay.
So one thing I've realized now is, especially with the private companies,
Okay.
most of them are recruiting based on soft skills.
Yeah.
So you
Okay.
will
Not to
not
cut you.
necessarily.
No, not to
Okay.
cut you. Maybe when we are done, we did some research, and maybe I'll have to share that report with you. Then you look at some of these details. We're looking at a tracer study on supply chain students, where they are right now and what got them in their jobs. And you look at the kind of things that got them in their job. It's so funny. Like the soft skill you are talking about, it's really important. A lot of skills are not needed. A lot are not needed. So we even decided to do something. I don't know if you guys will be interested, but please, after the class, kindly remind me so that I let you know. If you'll be interested, we can all do this for the first time. Yeah. So yes, Nanama, sorry, you can continue.
Okay, so as I was saying, you may not necessarily have to have an experience in the sector. Maybe you are going to a banking sector. I know people who did a Greek in university but are working in the bank. So you have to start developing your soft skills in terms of maybe doing volunteering work. Or maybe once you are in school, you can be involving yourself in maybe leadership position or any other thing that would get your soft skills to improve. So that's what I want to add.
Oh, okay. That's great. That's great. Yeah. Any other?
Hello, Pastor.
Yes.
I have a question. Looking at all what is coming up, isn't it clear that the HR has maybe lost its goal in terms of its recruitment and all other parameters?
No, I wouldn't say they've lost their goal, because if you look at the basic understanding of what human resource management is, it is about you spotting someone you think is good, but not absolutely like complete. The person has got the talent. You spotting that person, bring the person in, train the person to become the asset of the organization. Then the person helps you to achieve your goals. I think that is what they are doing. But you see, whatever thing we are doing, we have some human nature and an element in there. Okay. Of course, in principle, we are supposed to be doing the right thing, but the human being over there is not doing the right thing. Okay. That is what happens. But I'm not exactly sure that the HR has lost it. I think it's something personal. That's what I see. Something personal.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. HR and Sensem de Edosun. So right after this one, someone should keep it there and then remind me that I said some project that will work on it. It's a tool that is going to help everyone. We are going to build a tool and we want to release the first tool this year, like the very first of its kind this year. Okay, so we now understand the basics of HR. We want to talk about HR analytics, and it's going to be brief because analytics is something you've heard over and over and over. So let me go full screen, and yeah. So of course, HR analytics, we are talking about people analytics, okay? And we are just looking at, you see, all of the HR activities we've been talking about generate some kind of data, okay? And we're trying to analyze that data to make some sense out of it. That is going to help the organization achieve its goal. Is what we are calling the HR analytics. And let me see. Oh, Nanaya, soft skills is not maybe work politics. Soft skill, it's a lot. Sometimes it's about your let's say, should I call it speaking or whatever thing? Like public speaking skills can be part, using basic IT tools. Yeah. So it's normal. Of course, there are work politics, but it's not entirely politics. So let me put this way. If you have two people graduating from maybe HR, normal MSc HR, and one of them has got an idea on how to run data analysis, and the other does not, all he knows is HR principles and that. You see, when both of you go to the interview room, it's like the other person has got the kind of skill set you have, in addition to analyzing HR data to help management make decisions, but you do not have. Okay. So that is a soft skill. Sometimes the way they express themselves, sometimes the way they are able to manage maybe their emotions, like soft skill. And also, okay, and also, so, all right. So recruitment is going to generate data. Compensation is going to generate data. Motivation will generate data. Training is going to generate data. Now, we are going to collect all of these data here and then run some analysis on it. And the kind of insight we are going to get from that is going to help management to make decision. And this process is what we are calling the HR analytics. Okay. So HR analytics is actually a broad term that include the issue of data and then databases. Of course, if you look at this portion, we said we are going to create data. But how do we create the data? Did you learn anything database?
Yes, Pastor.
Yeah, you did database. So you know how to create your own database, populate it, and then fetch, delete some records, those kind of things.
Yes, Pastor.
Okay, good. That's interesting. So once you know that, you have to understand that HR analytics involves data and then databases. It involves a bit of data engineering. Do you know what data engineering is about? Okay, we don't do data engineering here, but I'm just hoping that data engineering was maybe a course, like one course or something, so that some of you can understand this. So data engineering is about, sometimes if you want to do some HR analytics like this or normal data analysis, the data may not be readily available in your database. It may be on someone's website. It may be a whole, like, scattered across. Now, data engineers, what they do is they spot this data, crawl all of this data from various sources, put them in shape, and then keep them in a warehouse for the analyst to start using. Okay. So it involves data engineering and then a bit of statistics. How many of us are afraid of statistics? Anybody? Yeah, I know the ladies who say they are afraid. How many of you are afraid? I haven't seen any hands up.
Pastor, aren't we all afraid of statistics?
Me.
Most of us will.
Yes.
Oh, but statistics is interesting. Well, maybe, I don't know. I think sometimes it depends on a lot of things. Maybe resource, maybe how you understood it, or the basics, and a lot of things. But statistics is nothing difficult. It's so interesting. But of course, if you want to do HR analytics, you need something statistics, because see, you'll be calculating maybe mean, median, those kind of things, but you don't really understand. Okay, let me ask this question. You know mean and then median. When is it appropriate to use mean to describe data, and when is it appropriate to use median to describe data? Do you have any idea when to use these two?
So let me come in a little.
Okay, sure.
So one time I was trying to look at some data setting.
Okay.
And there were some outliers.
like really prominent outliers, my first instinct was to remove them from the data set so that I can get in my mind pure figures to work with. But then I quickly realized that those outliers, to me, those profound outliers actually had an important role to play in the data set. So in that situation, the outlier was influencing the mean. So I used the mean as man. So in that situation, I had to use the median. So that is one thing I have
exactly. Exactly. So that's it. When mean is sensitive, okay? When we have ages 1, 2, 3, like ages between maybe 1 to 3, and there is an outlier, which is like 75. If you try to find the mean to describe the age, the 75 is going to swallow all of them.
Sway the whole thing.
Yeah. So you see the average age is going to be somewhere like 60. So that becomes a challenge. So in the issue of outliers, or when the data is skewed to one part, maybe the data is skewed to the left or to the right, you trying to use the average to describe the data becomes flawed. Okay, so in that case, we try to use the median. And then the median, what it does is it's going to arrange all of the values like in order and then pick the center one. That's it. Okay. If you need to maybe understand the statistics, once you understand a bit of statistics, I think everything should work fine going forward. You also need to know data analysis, like we'll be doing with maybe Tableau, Excel, and those things. Then data visualization and storytelling is also important. You need to be able to identify which visual to use in order to answer which particular question, okay? And then we also have a few analytical concepts that you need to know. But of course, we are not going through all of this. Yeah. So HR data, of course, we said all of the activities of HR, like manpower planning, selection, learning and development, generate some kind of data, okay? And that data is what we are referring to as the HR data in this case. So you can see something like this. If we have employee and their salary, this is HR data. If we have maybe some allowances and some few deductions, but when you do all of your computations, you are going to have some kind of good data to work with in terms of maybe compensation. Then HR data is important because it is needed to understand what has happened, what is going to happen, and what we should even do about the situation. So once you have HR data, you understand that, oh, this person left the company because of ABC reason. And I think you've learned something about the descriptive analysis, the diagnostic, predictive. You've seen those things. And I'm going to know that.
That's yes, yeah.
Okay, yeah, interesting. Yeah. So it's the same thing applying over here, but of course, we are saying that if we pick HR data and then run some analysis, it's going to help us in making some kind of decision. The workforce planning or the manpower planning we've been talking about, HR data is needed to plan that. We also need this data here for evaluation and then performance appraisal, and even engaging with employees and some kind of risk management. So yes, Nanaya, you may want to say something.
Pastor, please go back one slide, like 2 slides.
Here.
No, yes. So this is just
one.
this one. This is just my observation. I don't know if you can help me here. Normally, if you try to apply for jobs outside, that's outside Ghana, most of the jobs outside the Western countries, they normally state the salary range for you to know that, okay, this job, you can even go online, you see job descriptions and their salary range. But in Ghana, we don't do those things. Why?
For the why, I won't be able to answer because, every company, they have reasons for doing that. In fact, there are some companies, when they are recruiting, they don't even put, especially those who outsource, they will outsource to a company that we need an HR person or analyst or something, but they won't tell you which company. They will tell you that a company needs this. This is maybe the salary range, but you don't even know which company it is. Until we're doing NASA or apply, they will know that it's you. I don't know if it's a strategy, but with the issue of the pay, I think Ghana here, it's about negotiation. It's about negotiation over here. You see that you are working with your colleague. Mumi and Mumi data entry officers. One is taking 1,000 and you are taking 500. It's because the other party was able to negotiate. But to some extent, and then in my opinion, I think it would be fair to let the person know the range. That is the reason why we advise that during interview, when they ask you of your salary expectation, you can ask them the range for that role. And they should be able to tell you that, oh, for this role, we normally pay between this and that. Then that is going to help you decide if you don't really know how much to say. And in the West, laws are working that maybe state that this. But over here, you get it. So
Yeah.
I won't be able to respond to,
With your experience, have you ever seen like a Ghanaian public data with job titles and their salary range somewhere on?
Oh, those ones, they are speculations. Like you go to this company, they will just say that army, new recruits, they take between this and this. Those are speculations. It's not true. Well, it may be true. ABR, the person has been there before, so the person knows what's happening. But right now, things are changing. Those who were recruited at level 16, I think initially their salary was around 1,800 or so. But right now, if you ask someone, level 16, their salary should be more than that 1,800 also. You get it? So the thing keeps changing. And these people too, they won't tell you the truth. Could be so be or 500 cities, but back also be or 300. Someone to tell you, oh, maybe 2,000, but maybe an entity. I don't know why we are like that, anyways. But that's the challenge. Okay, I think probably there are no regulations to tell these HR people that when you're advertising the role, there should be state the salary over there. Of course, some companies do it, others too do not. I don't know why they don't.
Basi,
Yeah.
Basi,
Yes.
please, my little conspiracy theory is that they are trying to pay you as little as possible for as much work as possible.
Yeah, every company wants to make profit, so it's obvious. And someone also brought the issue of confidentiality. I know, but if you get stubborn employees, they will all meet and discuss that. But you can't even say it because Ebiana will be you discuss and now you are the least. So it's some way. It's some way, some way. Anyways, I think this is something the HR practitioners will be able to give us answers to. Yeah.
Pastor, please, you keep on saying level 16, level 16. What is level 16?
Oh, level 16 is when you're, you know about Ejuma, right? Government work.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they are employing you for the first time, they have levels. So to say, Obibeka say, oh, maybe like class 1, this is what you learn. Class 2, this is what you learn. They also have levels. Like when you are employed, they put you on level 16 because your money comes from controller. I'm not exactly sure if I'm quoting the right thing, but I think it's level 16. Your money will go through controller, and according to controller, anybody on level 16, we now salary pay across the country. Unless say the company is giving you some kind of bonuses, and see, obi a Flagstaff House, all level 16. On also budget 1,800 as the salary, net salary. But ABA na ya member the bonuses be internal generated fund be ya more bonus. Now we see na like 5,000. Now will be okay. and career early. I also level 16 no. Need the 1,008 pay. So it's
Oh,
levels.
okay.
I don't know but me share them family home. Me see me school. I'm stopping all of this age, man. I'm doing it because I'm in school and I need to survive. Otherwise, and by next year too, then I'm done. So immediately I finish, I may resign. Obviously, your friend salary grading system. Every organization has one. Okay. Okay. I think some of us here understand what's happening here. Okay. All right. So yes, this is where we get HR data from. Okay. So of course, this one here is not something new to you, but like I said, during recruitment, you ask them some kind of questions, the interview, they tell you something. That information you are getting is data. Okay. So it's a source of data, and this data may be through your surveys, maybe from social media feed, some database and the likes. Okay. So all of these sources generate data for HR data analysis. And of course, we have different types of data. Okay, but HR data most often is mixed. You will get both qualitative and then quantitative. In terms of salary, you'll be getting quantitative. In terms of how your people are faring, their sentiment, all of these are qualitative. Okay, so you know what a structured data is, right? If you don't understand that one, we can go over. But if you understand it, I wouldn't want us to waste some time over here because structured data is we don't have a definite definition maybe for it, but of course we can see structured data based on the characteristics of it. Okay, so when we see that it's arranged in something like this, which follows a very good format like this, we call it structured data. Unstructured one doesn't follow any format. So something like when you visit the website, you see how data is scattered across like this. When you search on Google, how data is scattered across, that is also data, but then it's unstructured. So the structured one is we can organize them in rows and then columns like this. We are able to organize them like this. Something like this is structured because, you know, this column here takes employee name. This one here takes basic salary. You can't come and put the 150,000 here and then like you can't switch the sides because this one here has got a structure that puts salary here and then put this one here. But the unstructured one, it doesn't follow that kind of pattern. Just put anything anywhere you want. The semi-structured one too has got some sections that are structured and some sections that are not structured. Okay, so something like you sending an email, you can't put anything here. You have to put someone's email address here. And over here too, you have to put the subject here. So this portion of it is structured, but the content of the email is not structured. That makes it semi-structured. Okay. All right. So since you said you've studied database, I wouldn't worry you so much on this one. Okay. But of course, once you know the data, we have to know where to keep the data and then how to keep it. And once we know how to keep the data, and of course, we can go ahead and pull it to run some analysis on it. Okay. So I'm rushing through this one. Okay. So database is just, I would say, a location or a place where we collect and then store data for use. All right. So when we have a structured collection of organized and interconnected data that is stored electronically, that is what we are going to call the database. And in our case, we are going to look at just two of them, relational database and the non-relational database. Now, I'm sure you've done non-relational database in Introduction to Big Data, right? You did MongoDB also, right?
Yes, Pastor.
Yeah. So once you also did relational database, where you are looking at MySQL database with probably Navicat. That's what Dr. Sebe will mostly use. I don't know if he's changed it to. You did it with Sadika. Okay. So what tool did you use? Is it Navicat or? Okay. Yeah. So, but those things are just DBMS. Okay, they are tools. We have a lot of DBMS out there. Navicat is one. Oracle has got their own. MySQL has got their own. In fact, a lot of them. So you can use any of them you are interested in. Okay. So relational database is more like it's going to organize the data in tables like rows and then columns, and we'll be able to create a relationship between different data sets. So one, we may have one table or records for employees only, just their personal information. We may also have a different table or records for their salary information. But then how do we know that this salary here belongs to this employee? Because we are storing them in two different tables or two different areas. So relational database comes in to say that, okay, I want to create a relationship between this table and that table so that when you pick this record, you know that it belongs to this particular person, okay? And then the non-relational one doesn't do it like that, okay? It stores information as something we call key value pair. It will give you a key. I'll show you some. So this is an example of relational database, okay? So like this, you can see it's organized everything in rows and columns, and you can see this one, like tenant, asset, tag. These are rows and columns organized in a good way. You can't come and put anything. Time, now I bet you 4. It will reject it. Okay? Then that of this, you remember we said the relational database, you can have different tables or information. Okay, then you try and then link them together. So something like this. You may have one table for employee. That is where you keep records of employees. You may have one folder. You may have this and that. Then you would say that, oh, if I'm looking for the department of this employee, then I try to create a relationship between this table and the department table so that anytime I pick an employee, Kwame, I'll come and then say that, oh, Kwame belongs to this department. Or if I pick this department, I'll say that, oh, employee 1, 2, 3 belongs to this department. So we'll try to create a relationship between them, and it's normally called modeling. Okay. And when we create this relationship between them, or a kind of database structure that allows us to create a relationship between the tables, is what we call relational database. Now, no relational database doesn't happen that way. But look at this. It stores the data as key and then a value. That's why we call it the key value pair. Okay. So it's a bit different from the relational database. And because you've gone through this in details, I wouldn't want to worry you so much about this. So of course, it is important for us to understand what database is, because the truth is that is where we are, and we are never going back to the manual ways of doing things. So it's better we understand and appreciate it now, okay? So it's important because we use it to store and then organize data in contemporary times, okay? And then it makes it so easy for you to access your data. Now, for example, let me show you one. Because you guys said you've done database before, let me show you what we mean by it's so easy to maybe interact with your data. If you need any information of that sort, you can retrieve it at any point in time. For example, let me pick this thing here and say that if I need all information about, say, student, I can just write some kind of query and it's going to pull all of that kind of information for me. So let's say I want to select everything from, is it student table? Maybe this is okay. If I want to pull all of the records in it, it becomes so easy for me to handle this one. Now look at this one. It's so easy for me to handle it. I don't need to worry so much about how it came in, how it was even saved. If I want to delete something, it's so easy. I don't have to think about how it's being done. Okay, so we're trying to use modern database like this. Makes it's easy for us to access data and then retrieve it. So you see how easy it was for me to retrieve it. But imagine you are not using database and the information is stored in, let's say, like some book. You have some notebook where you write all of these things. If you need, in fact, let's make things interesting. Okay, let me use gender. I don't know if I have like this. Okay, imagine I wanted to pull all of the records from my student database for only males. Now, using the modern database makes it easier for you to grab all of the males in your school like that, so you can see male, male, male. We don't have any female over here. It makes it easier to do that than if you're using the traditional one. If it's in books, it becomes very difficult to filter the males and that of the females. Okay, so for data integration issues, for privacy, for performance, scalability, all of these things, that is the reason why it's more important for us to maybe go modern databases than use the manual approach of handling our data. All right. So in relational databases, okay, that's what I'm calling the RDBMS. Okay. In relational database, I think I've explained this. We have one broad thing we are calling the database that involves a lot of things. I don't know, we may not be able to get into the details of this, but database is not collection of tables only. We have a lot of things in database. We have something like views, we have stored procedures, all of these things are there. But for maybe at our stage, we try to limit ourselves to just the tables in there. Okay. So it is just a single thing called database, and the database is just a collection of tables, and these tables are related to each other in some way. Okay, and so I'm talking about tables here, right? We said the tables here are making up the database, but we want to look at what the table is. Now the table has got something we call rows and then columns. In fact, the rows, we use rows. We are using rows over here because this is not a typical IT class where we have to call this one record and then maybe attribute. We tend to use that to confuse the rest of the world. But what we mean is just row and column. That's what it is. So everything here is a row and everything here is actually a column. So we cannot come and put an ID value over here under name. No, the table is going to reject that, because every column has got its own configuration in terms of the data type is accept and other constraints. For example, it should be unique or it shouldn't be unique. We have a lot of information related to tables. So maybe going forward, we may see some of them in here. And please, if there is something you don't understand, you draw my attention to it. I'm moving a bit fast because you said you've done this, and I want to assume that you understand what data types are. Okay, like maybe integers, maybe floating numbers, decimals, dates, those kind of things. Okay, and we have a lot of keys. Remember this one. Do you remember when we came here? We were saying that, okay, if I pick an employee, I'll be able to know the department the employee belongs. How upon maybe what conditions are we saying that this employee belongs to this one? That takes us to relational keys. Okay, so we have something we call primary key that uniquely identify every single record. Okay, it will never repeat itself. If let's say I have this record, let me get everything here. In relational database, you see this is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, if I decide to delete this one, you see this ID 1, 2, 3. What do you think the next number is going to be? Hello?
Plastic 5.
Yeah, it's going to be 5. The reason why it's going to be 5 is 4 has ever existed on this table, and it will never repeat itself again on this particular table. So this is the primary key. Okay, it's just a set of auto numbers. The system generates it automatically for you. That is if you want the system to do that. Otherwise, if you want to do it yourself, you can do it your own way. So the primary key uniquely identifies, let's say, a record or a row in a table. Now, this row over here, when it's on the traditional table or the main table, we call it primary key. But when it finds itself on a different table, we call it a foreign key. Now, for example, let me take you back here. Good. Do you see this table here? This table here is department. So department ID here should uniquely identify all of the records in this table. So this guy here becomes a primary key. Now look at this is country. This is the country ID. This particular ID is going to uniquely identify every single country over here. It becomes the primary key. It is the primary key because it uniquely identifies each record and it's on the home table. But look at this one. There's something called department ID. Now this department ID, the value here is the same as the department ID over here. But because this department ID coming from this table find itself on a different table, we'll call it a foreign key. Okay, it helps us to identify values on the department table. Okay, I don't know if it sounds a bit confusing, but it's basically a primary key over here when it comes here. But when the primary key value moves from this table to another table, we call it a foreign key. In fact, we have a lot of other keys like conjugate keys and those things, but that is not the purpose of this. This is not database 101. This is analytics. Okay. So yeah. So a foreign key is just a column or columns of data in one table that refers to other data values in another table. Okay. So yes, we have some constraints over here. Constraints are like rules we try to enforce on various columns. So for example, if we say in the let's say the table signature or the definition of that table, if we say that this one here is not now, that what it means is you can't leave it empty. You have to put something there. Okay, it shouldn't be now. You have to put something there. If we say default something, then all we're trying to say is that if we don't put any value over there, what should be the default value we should put in there? Okay. And unique. The unique is like this value shouldn't repeat itself on this particular column. Okay. And the primary key of which we know the foreign key, and then index. So index is more like a property we assign to table columns. That helps us to retrieve the records very fast. So for example, if I have this, look at this. When I executed this particular query, look at the time it took, 0.005 seconds. Now, let's say I want to see if I have some, okay, you know this, this guy here is indexed. You see, some small keys over here, it is indexed. And the reason why they are indexed is sometimes I may want to fetch the data based on that particular criteria. Now, let me say, I want to look at something. But I want to explain what that thing is. Let me see country of birth if it is indexed. Country of birth. Okay, I haven't indexed this one. So let me come here and say that I want to write a query and then fetch where country of birth is Ghana. Okay, I want you to pay attention to it. But you may not see the effect because we don't have a lot of records. It's very small, just 4 of them. So you may not see the effect very well. Country of birth. So select where country of birth is Ghana. Okay. Now remember the country of birth. Oh, it's I. Remember the country of birth is not indexed. Do you remember? Do you remember? Yes, gender is indexed, but country of birth here, it is not indexed. So when you see the small key, it means they are indexed. Now I want to fetch something based on the country of birth, like this. And I want you to pay attention to the time it will use to execute. Now, this is using 0.005 seconds. to fetch all guys or all those who were born in Ghana. Do you understand that? It took this number of seconds. Now, we may not see the difference between because the records is very small. But if I come back here and check the structure and see that, okay, I have, let's say email. You see, email is indexed. If I want to fetch the record based on an index, something like the email, it becomes very fast for me to pull the records. So let me see if I can get some email. Oh, where is the email? After phone number. Oh, I don't have any email here. Let me put some email in here. Okay. I want to slot my email. Okay. So let me grab my email and say that, and I want to fetch based on this email. Of course, I'm expecting that the time for execution should be a bit fast. This is what 0.00. Is this one same as the other one? Or the other one is like it was pulling all of the records. Where email is this? I'm getting confused with these numbers.
So
Okay,
the other one had 3 zeros before the 5.
Okay, and this one is having this 2. But we come to see, I don't know if I have any data. These are all offline database, so I don't have enough records. But if I have one with a lot of records in there, and I begin to fetch the data based on maybe how do we call it? An index column, you see that it becomes faster than this one. So let me see if I can get index columns. So you see this index, then this. So it makes the search quite efficient. It makes the thing very fast. I don't know, those of you who have been working with database before, I think you understand, like database before, you understand what I'm talking about. Okay. But basically that is the essence of this one. It's going to help us to quickly retrieve the record. Okay. Then we have something called normalization and denormalization. And this is the reason why we have to be creating maybe some kind of links between the various tables. We want to try and then avoid redundancy as let's say, imagine this records here. You have a record called let's say, I don't know which one to use as an example, but imagine this one, okay, employee data. And we decided not to put department ID over here, but then we pull the department name over here, added it. And of course, the department belongs to a country. We come and pull the country name too and then add it. So it's like that department name and the country name stored over here are stored here and then stored here as well. That is redundancy. So we try to keep one record here, one record here, one record here. Then based on this, we can make inference, or we can refer to this table and grab the name, refer to this table and also grab a name. Okay. So that is what I'm trying to communicate over here. All right. So we have different forms. Okay. So you see maybe 1DF, maybe this. You want to normalize the say a particular table to the first, maybe second, third. We have a lot of them, but like I'm saying, this is not database 101, so I wouldn't be able to go through that details. But of course, you have to understand that when we're trying to normalize the data, we try to reduce redundancy. So we may sometimes want to use some numbers or IDs to represent certain values. But when during analysis, where we have to build a data warehouse, we have to convert all of those numbers into actual, like the actual text or the names or the values over there. Okay, that is where we try to denormalize it and then start running some analysis on it. But recently, even if you denormalize your data and you want to build a model with it, you will have to normalize that data again. Like, you have to convert all text to numerical values before you even go ahead to run your analysis. Okay. Then we have this tool. This is the tool we use in interacting with the records in our database. So when we come here, you realize that I was writing some kind of commands over here, okay? Like a command like this. If I want to delete some record, I'll say maybe delete from a given table. Student, maybe where ID is maybe 3. Now, this query that I've written is what we call the SQL query, okay? Structured query language. Okay? So it's just a programming language for managing and then manipulating relational database. So if you build any relational database like such, and you want to, in fact, create a new record, you can just say that, or let's say you want to create a new database, okay? So you can just do create maybe database. Maybe if it doesn't exist, then you give the name of that database, okay? And that database is going to run very well. If you want to delete a database, you can just maybe drop database, then you give us the name of the database you want to drop. Then we are good to do that. So all of these commands that I'm issuing are all SQL queries. So it's just a programming language, like you'll be writing your Python script and that, but this is a bit different. Okay, so in SQL queries, we have some of these keywords you would want to pay attention to. We have something like create. We use it to create. I don't know if I have the opportunity, I should write a query with each one of them for you to understand how it works. But if you want to create maybe a database, you can just say create database. Then you give the database a name, okay? Just any name, MyDB. This is going to create a new database over here if I execute this command. Okay, let's say this, and if I come down here, you should see MyDB. Let me refresh this. Oh, not you. Where is M? So you can see this is it, MyDB. This is what I just created with this query. Okay, if I want to drop this guy, I can as well use a different query to do that. Drop database MyDB because I don't need it. I want to delete it from this one. So if I also want to create a table, I can just quickly just say I want to create a table. Then I'll have to give the table a name. Okay. Then if I give the table a name like this, now I'll need to specify all of the columns and maybe I don't know how to put it, but I'll need to specify all of the columns and the other properties, like the constraints. I'll need to do all of those things. So that is what this one here does. It's used for creating tables, creating views, and database objects. Like if you want to insert records into a database, you can also use the insert keyword. Okay, I think there is a quick filler here. If I do insert, look at this. This is too plenty and then overwhelming. It's trying to insert into every single column. That is why I say but we can just say I want to insert into a given table, then the name of the table, maybe student. Then I have to specify the columns that I want to insert the table in. So I can specify all of the columns here. So let's say column 1, column 2. These are supposed to be the names of the columns. And once it's ready, I have to say these are the values that I want to insert. Then I'll say value 1 belongs to column 1, and then value 2 belongs to column 2. So it's as easy as that. If you want to select, I think I've done that before. I've shown you. If you want to update, like you want to make changes. I don't know if you have some time, okay? After this course, you remind me so that we can go through. Assuming there is something about database that you don't understand, we can have a lab session where I can write some kind of SQL queries with you so that you understand some few things if you didn't understand anything in the previous thing you did. Okay. So you can put that one down. assuming you need in one of our lab sessions, you need database, we can do that. Okay. Then we have one for deleting, trying to modify a table. And these are more like conditions. Okay. Sorry, a moment. Yeah, hello. Yeah. Good morning. Okay, how are you? Yeah, I'm in class now. I'm in class now. I'll have to call you back. Sorry. So these are all conditions. Okay, can use this one to pull records from multiple tables. Can use this one here to group the data based on specific criteria. This is where you want to sort the values, maybe either ascending order, descending order, or maybe based on names, or AA should come first, and like a lot. There are a lot of commands, you know. This is small, you know, we have a lot of them. So yeah, this one here is trying to give you an example that if you want to select column first name and last name from the customers table, this is the result you're going to get. Okay, then we have DBMS. What is this thing? Okay, so DBMS, like I said, is just a software tool that allows you to interact with your database. See, on the real, database does not look like this. Right? Database doesn't look like this. Okay, you have some blank something like a CMD sort of, like a blank something like that. You'll be issuing commands like that. But someone actually sat down to develop this software, and this is a DBMS, and it allows me to interact with my database easily. Normal database will not show you that, okay, if I open this, I'm going to see this. If I do this, I'm going to see this. No. So DBMS is just a tool that is going to help you in managing your database. All right. And there is this tool I keep working with, and it's called a Workbench. Have you used it before?
Yes, Pastor.
Yeah. So in your class with maybe Sadika, she could have used Workbench, but like I said, it's also a tool like any other DBMS. So you can use this one here. But I think this one too has got server management things in here, like administration. Yeah, this one too has got some server management kind of stuff, helping you to know your database load and everything. Okay. I think Navica too has got that. Navica has got a lot of features than this one. But I see Navica is for sale, and this one here is free. So for the purpose of our class, I tend to use the free one, and that's it. But it's not as if the query you write in Navicat is different from what you write here. They are all the same, just different interfaces, because we have two different companies that are building two software for database management. Okay, so we have all of these things there. All of these things are DBMS, even access. Obi te ha onim say access your database. Who doesn't know that access is a database? But who ni man waka? Oh, who said no. So access is a database, just like the normal SQL database and the likes that we are talking about. So you can see I've created a lot of database with like the HR students, undergraduates, like a lot of them. So access is also a database, just like any other database tool we have here. Okay. And HR data analysis. Again, remember we've seen this guy here before, right?
Okay.
Yes.
Please, I think it's time for break.
Yeah, we are done.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we are done. So immediately you see next steps, it means we are done.
All right.
So HR data analysis, we've talked about creating the data, storing it. Of course, we now know what the data is. We now know how to create the data. We know how to store it. So we may want to learn more about how to analyze the data and then visualize it as well. So in our next steps, let me see, not this one. In our next steps, I don't know if I should take you through this one like real quick. Yeah, we are almost through, but this is something you've seen before. That is why the types of data analysis that you have, this is something you've seen before, and the various steps. Okay, if you want to analyze data, the various steps you have to go through to the end. Okay, this is something you've seen before as well, and challenges when it comes to you analyzing your data. There are a couple of challenges that you face. The software tool that you use, how much it costs, availability of the human beings that are going to be working, the skilled ones, of course, it's not so easy to get. And because we have different data sources, managing it becomes very difficult. So you need a data engineer to manage this data, keep them in the warehouse for you to start using. And in fact, cleaning the data alone can be something. You see, you haven't cleaned any difficult data before. I'll share some data with you, not for exercise. You try it on your own. So FIFA data set B. It took me like about 4 days or so to finish cleaning that data set. I posted it on my LinkedIn, and so you can quickly check that out. I use Python for the data cleaning. The data is like, come again.
If it took 4 days, and if it took 4 days for you, I'm sure it'll take me to the end of the Olympics to finish mine.
Oh no, it wouldn't. It wouldn't. The thing is, it was like it took me a lot of time because I didn't understand the data very well. My first time interacting with that data. So if you have some time, and it was like I said, near pentem, you get it. We needed to do it and get over it and then move on. So once you have some time, but it presents like interesting challenge. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Let me see if I can find it. I know our time is up, but FIFA data set. Oh, I want to get that from my. No, how do I get that? On my profile, right? I should find it here. FIFA data sets. Assembly and grain. Let me check. No, not this. To see if I can find all of them. Not here. Oh, I can't find this thing on. This is organizations. Should it be under project? I've not been updating my LinkedIn on my assembly. Oh no, it's not here. It's one. So where can I find all of my posts? You have any idea where I can find my post? Let me check. Used to be. Let me see if I can find it. But it's interesting. It's not big. Oh, two-factor. Oh. So let me see. Oh, where is it? Yeah, someone. Charlie, I can't find it, you know. FIFA. Wow.
Pastor, I think the last time you showed it to us on your LinkedIn, your homepage.
Oh, okay. But I don't know why I can't find it
See,
again.
I'll share it with them.
Okay, that's fine.
And
that's fine.
Your codes.
That's fine. So at least You can try your hands on it. I think the data set and all of my codes are there. You can try on your own if you would want to clone my data, my codes, and I look at how I went about it. It's also interesting. But the data was very messy. Yeah. So these are some kind of tools we use in our HR data analysis, not all of them. I'll not be using Power BI or Tableau. I don't know. Pentaho is for it's a PDI tool, data integration. So it's for data engineering task. I think we'll use Gephi for our social network analysis. And then we'll use, I think, Python as well for sentiment analysis. And I don't know. But we can do sentiment analysis in Power BI. But of course, we need a premium account for that. So it's a bit some way. So these are trends. I wouldn't want to worry you so much. Just trends in AI, and that's it. Because you see, I did. I call we say a friend Gemini. Oh. So yeah, I don't know if there is any question, comment, maybe or something at this point. Otherwise, we'll end the session here. Any comment? Is there anything you didn't understand? Because I was maybe moving fast. Hello?
Everything seems to be fine.
Everything is okay at your end.